Make Peace with Nature is a syndicated public affairs presentation of this station dealing with solutions to problems of energy, conservation, and the environment. Today's program will be hosted by David Surber.
Hello, and welcome to Make Peace with Nature. Over the years, we have presented many programs on recycling. And despite my efforts and those of hundreds of others in the private and public sectors, and despite the increasing number and types of things which can be recycled, only 25% of the American people recycle. Here is a brief video about the efforts of one woman to reduce the number of plastic shopping bags which are discarded and wind up in landfills, lakes, streams, rivers, and even the ocean, where, unfortunately, they do not degrade.
What if there was a better way to carry groceries? One that was more organized. And less messy. One that was safer. For your groceries. And better for the environment. We're checking out as a breeze. Baggers actually like packing your groceries. It's kind of cool to be green. Cresbi. Smarter, stronger, longer lasting. It's a better way to carry groceries. And other things. So be a boxer, not a bagger, and have more fun. Order your Cresbi crates today. Cresbi, the collapsible, reusable, environmentally friendly, stackable box idea from Sun Sugar Farms. Make a better life.
Linda Fritz is the owner of Sun Sugar Farms and the creator of the Cresbi crate system. Among other accomplishments, she worked her way through Penn State University, earning a degree in electrical engineering, and then spent 10 years in semiconductor design for the auto industry. It is fair to say, as we shall see, that she is an intelligent and committed entrepreneur whose passion lies in the design of products to save energy and help restore the environment. More about Linda and Cresbi crates after this.
The views expressed on Make Peace with Nature are those of the participants and not necessarily those of this station or the program's underwriters.
It is a pleasure to welcome to Make Peace with Nature for the first time Linda Fritz. She owns a farm, but she's also an electrical engineer, an entrepreneur, and an inventor. So, how did you get from a BS or BA in electrical engineering at Penn State with the volts and the watts and the grid system?
Yeah.
Now you're working on a farm which you own and inventing ways to keep the environment clean.
Well, the farm's what led to the invention of the Cresbi crate. I actually have a video production company that I've had for 18 years since I left the automotive industry to, stay home with my kid, and while my husband got to go to work, and I took care of all the grocery shopping. Right. And so I used the growing of edamame to, I wanted to do that sustainably, and I would always get paper bags. And it kept getting harder and harder to get paper bags. They kept handing you plastic, or they'd say they were out of paper bags. And I just got to a point where it's like, this is crazy. We need to be doing something else. And I came to find out the average person gets 500 plastic bags a year.
And they all wind up either in the landfill or the creek or the ocean, the rivers?
Yes. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, well, I reuse them. I use them to line my trash can, or I pick up my dog doo-doo.
But you don't believe that?
Well, they probably do, but it still ends up in a landfill, or it doesn't make it to the landfill.
Well, here's what puzzles me. We've recently done a number of programs updating the things that can be recycled, and had some people on from Rumpke. And there are many more things that are made of plastic which can be recycled. Yes. So it's the issue, is it not that it's not that you can't recycle plastic, but for some reason these bags you talk about, why, since they're made of plastic, why can they not be recycled, and yet a plastic jug can be recycled?
Well,
isn't that a good question?
Yeah, I mean, these plastic bags can be recycled, but a lot of people will use them for trash bags where they end up in the landfill again, you know, instead of being recycled.
Well, now wait a minute then. So you say they can be recycled, then why do you need to go on to your invention, which we'll talk about soon?
Because a lot of
people won't do it? Because
they won't do it. They won't do it, or, you know, it's a hassle to take them all back to the grocery store where there's a bin.
Why wouldn't the grocery chain, since they're, we're going to do 2 shows on this, and the next show I researched with your help, the grocery chains are out $4 million a year just to manufacture these. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they recycle them?
Oh, well, they do have the receptacles where you can return them, and then they, you know, are taken to places where they can recycle them. There are, you know, places in the U.S. that'll do that and turn them. They don't just recycle them, though. They really downgrade them. You know, they downcycle them, so to speak. They become park benches or
But there is a way of keeping them out of, just so we can be clear on this, out of the rivers and the lakes and the streams.
Yes.
If we educate the people who watch programs like this.
Right.
Because basically it's not, the fault is not that the fact that they're made of plastic, but they're flimsy, and it doesn't look like they would hold up if you brought them back and forth a couple of times.
Right, and that's why when you get cans and jars, they'll double bag, or they'll just put, you know, your eggs in one. So the thing about my invention, my Cresbi crate system, is you can replace 6 of these with 1 crate, you know, depending on what you're buying. And so right there, you're not having to get as many. The other problem, even though we recycle, this is such, like, the fossil fuels that are used to create plastics took a long time to come into creation.
Millions of years.
Millions of years.
Yes.
And then we use it for 10 minutes and we throw it away, where it takes many, many more years to decompose.
Then when you ask them for paper, you know, at the end of, I go to the grocery store myself from time to time, and as you check out, they say paper or plastic. That's their closing remark, or their almost closing remark, paper or plastic.
They used to.
So I say paper. What's wrong with just stop making these things and keep them out of the waste stream and just use paper?
Stop wasting.
Won't paper degrade in the landfill?
Yeah, paper does biodegrade. I mean, that's what I was using for weed control. Instead of using chemicals in between the rows of my edamame, I would put newspaper and paper bags down and then put straw on top of that to keep it from blowing away. And so that was a good way to sustainably use the paper to control the weeds.
Right. You are in negotiation with, if you don't care to mention it, not to worry, with a major national grocery chain to use your system, which shortly we'll demonstrate here. Why wouldn't they just, as a matter of expediency, they'll be selling the thing, so it's not going to cost them anything. Why wouldn't they just forget about these paper plastic bags and just use paper bags?
Well,
paper bag. Let me have one of those.
Yes.
I'm going to hold it up myself.
Those are like 2 cents
flimsy,
to make.
And I know for myself, if you put a couple of bottles of gin in here or whatever,
you don't get too much gin in there; it'd be all over.
They will fall through.
That's not a good gin receptacle.
This is very flimsy.
Yeah.
But why don't they just say, look, we're going to just switch to paper? Does this cost as much?
Those are like 1 to 2 cents. Paper bags are 3 to 4 cents.
Oh, big difference.
Yeah. And so they really don't want to, these hit the market in like the 70s, and they just took off because grocery stores could save so much money handing those out instead of paper bags.
If they didn't use plastic and paper and stop using these altogether, they would still save money, and they could use paper, which is recyclable.
Paper is recyclable, but
will not harm the environment.
Well, yeah, but it does downcycle too. And I know you can plant more trees and everything, but again, there's all that effort when instead of using something, again, that takes a while to create the resources, the trees and that sort of thing, why not use something that you can always take to the store with you? Just like you can always take a reusable cup, you know, to get a drink. Instead of just using a single-use item. That's the problem with our society. It's so single-use.
It's all called a throwaway society.
A throwaway society, exactly. And I really appreciate you letting me come on the show to talk about it, because I don't think people really think about it, because marketing is so geared to saying, we can save you time. Look, you can just buy this and here's your meal. Just throw it in the microwave. And we don't stop and look and say, well, this is nice, but you know, now I got to recycle the cardboard, and this little container that the food came in, I can't even recycle that.
Do you have an opinion? I've been doing the show a long time, probably since you were in grade school. And after all the things I've done, and now we see the show can be seen, it's on the internet, and all the things everybody else has done, the networks and newspapers and all, how is it that after all these years, only 25% of the American people recycle?
Well,
there must be some reasons.
That's why there are laws. That's why, especially in the coastal cities, you know, all your California cities, you know, some of your East Coast cities where they're near a large body of water, where there's high winds, and they could just pick those little bags up and suck them out to the ocean. They make laws.
Serious. Are you saying that
they make
people
laws
in California are throwing them up in the air and they're winding up in the Pacific Ocean?
No, but because of the fact that they're near an ocean, and because there's more winds that, like if a plastic bag gets loose in the wind here, it's not going to end up out in the middle of the ocean. You know, it's got a lot farther to go. But right there, they're right on the coast. That's why they've passed so many laws in those cities, is because it is much more of a problem.
Right, but still in all, 25%, there are 330 million people in this country.
I know. And that's, being here in the Midwest and having this great idea, it's like, I should really be in California where they've passed all these laws and they have to use reusable bags, which, you know, I can show you one of those, and those aren't much better than the plastic.
Show that, because we'll bring on your main invention in the final segment.
Okay. These are reusable bags that I'm sure people have seen, and they're supposed to replace those, and they hand them out. You know, you can get them for free. These cost between 10 and 25 cents to make. They're sold at the store for $1 to $3. They're given away.
Is this bag one of your inventions?
No.
Okay.
And if you read it, it's made in China. It's 100% non-woven polypropylene. Polypropylene is a plastic, not a fabric.
It's also toxic, isn't it?
It is, and that's so you're putting your food in here. But it's non-woven because it looks like it's woven, like our fabric is woven, but it's non-woven.
Well, I'm not clear. Are you advocating then that they use this and your invention?
Don't use these. The problem with these is they rip easily. If you read the label, it says hand wash cold. You're not going to kill any germs washing something in cold.
You have nothing to do with this.
I hate these. These are a farce, made to have us buy more.
Well, the color's bad enough. So, all right,
throw that away.
Yeah, let's get rid of that. We just have.
Oh, and they can't be recycled anywhere.
Okay,
That's the biggest problem.
Okay,
They'll they'll end up in landfills.
During the break.
Throw them away.
Now, let me see that thing.
Okay, so because they can't be recycled, this is what my company does with reusable bags. Is we'll give you a 10-cent credit towards the purchase of a Cresbi crate for every bag you give us, and we'll weave them into pet rugs, or the very exciting boot toppers that you can wear to football games. Notice I'm wearing the color of the team that won.
A lot of fun at Mardi Gras, I would think.
You could do Mardi Gras.
Could you hold up this thing again and tell us what that's a throw rug?
Yeah, it's you can.
Okay, now
pets
again,
like
let's be clear on this.
Yeah.
And we need to get it in on one of these cameras. Again, what is this made of?
Strips of those.
This.
Strips of those. I cut.
So, but I thought you said this wasn't a good idea. Now you're
Well,
winding up making.
I keep them from landfills by making them into rugs that will last forever.
Okay, we have to wind up the same. What's wrong with people saying, well, if this is a pet rug, eventually people will want to throw those away, so they're throwing this away instead of this.
Oh, well, that is that. So
But
this will last.
It would seem to me it would take a lot more of these to make this.
Well, yeah, that way you save a lot more from the
Okay.
landfill.
Well, anyway, they're telling me that the segment is over. Folks, we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
The views expressed on Make Peace with Nature are those of the participants and not necessarily those of this station or the program's underwriters.
Linda Fritz is an electrical engineer by education, and she's an entrepreneur, an inventor, and someone who is passionately interested in saving the millions or billions of these bags that wind up in the rivers and streams.
There's
on a yearly basis.
actually, in the whole world, trillions of the plastic bags are produced,
You're quite
and
sure of
then
that?
billions of the reusable bags. Yeah, over the years, there's been trillions.
Okay. All right, now that brings us to the Cresbi crate.
Okay.
Can you demonstrate that
Okay.
for the benefit of our young cameraman, Nolan?
Okay, no. So when I thought about the
what is
fact,
that thing?
Okay, so I had bought some bins for my edamame, right? And I thought
Edamame's soybeans.
edible soybean, right?
All right.
And one of the few growers
Well, we
of
can do another show on
edamame. So, and I bought some bins, and they were kind of industrial, but I was like, these are kind of nice
So
if
you
they
got
were.
them at the hardware store.
Ordered them online.
All right,
from
go
a
ahead.
big bin company.
So the
like
idea is you're
produce
going to
guys.
take, instead of asking for paper or plastic, you're going to take a bin with you that you bring back and forth.
Yes.
Is that a correct statement?
And then I thought, how can I carry more than one? And so that's how I came up with a strong strap, and then I put it to the crate.
All right.
And now I
what
have
is that thing made of?
This is a polyester. And
Okay, so it has a life that is
Oh,
prolonged. So you don't have to worry about there are
Right.
too many parts to recycle that
Right,
thing.
if-
There are hinges and
right, you got hinges, and you can, if you were to drop this on its corner and the little hinge might break. The thing is, with this, you can then hook it all up and use it for storage. This will outlive you because it's a number 5 polypropylene. It's a very hard plastic, and it's probably not the best business model because if I sell you one of these, you're not going to have to come back and buy another model. You're not going to need next year's print or
well,
next
that's like
year's
saying
pattern.
you buy a car, you're not going to come back a week later for the same car.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. This is for groceries, not a car.
be used for
Eventually,
anything,
a car has like 100,000 mile bogey, but
Now, this thing, you purchase it once, as you say, and then it has an indefinite life.
oh, totally. And depending on how much you shop, because I have some people say, well, that's not. I fill up a whole cart. I have, no matter how little or a lot you shop, I have systems for however full you fill a cart. Because some people fill a whole cart. And so I have a bigger one of these, and they come as a 4-pack, and you can get a 4-pack.
All right, so what are the people, when the people at Kroger's or wherever say plastic or paper or plastic, you just crank this thing open and put,
Well, initially,
or do you put the things in it as you shop?
Okay.
I'm confused.
yeah, initially I would go into the store like you saw in the video, and I would hook it onto my cart, and I'd keep it out of the way, and then I'd, set it up, and I'd tell the bagger, okay, you can pack this one to the top, and then I'm going to stack them so you can pack this other one a little higher, and but now what I do, instead of letting them pack it, which was kind of exciting to watch them pack it. I'll take that one back if you could hand me that one back.
I thought we were moving on to this one.
We'll get there. Instead of letting them pack it, what I do now, if you go into any of the major stores like Meijer's, Kroger's, any big place that has a handheld scanner for dog food for the big bags so you don't have to pick it up, they have a handheld scanner. The checkers do. Don't go to U-Scan because they're not paying us to scan our own groceries. I hate those. So I go in, I grab my item, I put my barcodes up, and then when I get to the checkout line, I set the whole thing on the conveyor. And I stop the girl, I'm like, hey, I put all the barcodes up. You can just
Pardon me.
scan across with the handheld scanner. And they go, okay. and they do it, and they can see everything. And then if you have, more layers, like you can say I have a lot here, I just put whatever item I want in that crate right after it. And because she's already got the scanner, she just picks it up, scans it, sets it on top. The checkers absolutely love these because it increases their scans per minute. I mean, and I get this from everybody. I get a lady in Texas email me. She's like, I got through Walmart with $360 worth of groceries in less than 3 minutes. I'm like,
she must have had help. Nobody could get out for $360 worth of groceries.
Nope.
She must have bought 12 bottles of champagne. I mean, how can you do that? How can you humanly spend $360?
You eat a lot of food.
Unless
you have a big family.
One item is $300 and the other.
No. I average for every $100 less than a minute checkout. And $100 is a week's worth of groceries, for me and my husband and when my daughter comes home. But less than a minute, because think about it.
Look at this other one that you made me give back to you. I don't know how we're going to show that. We have time, but it doesn't look to me like that's. I can't see how they could get the scan. What am I missing?
Oh here? No. This one I've already packed.
But
to show how it.
But it's not packed in accordance with the barcodes all scanning.
No, because this one I wanted to show.
You simply want to demonstrate how much it will take.
Exactly, because you would get a bag for eggs. Whoops. No. You would get a bag for eggs. You would get a bag for, no, it's not any alcoholic drinks, just olive oil. You would get a bag for separate glasses, because they wouldn't put those. So there's
they won't
three
put those
right
in
there.
Paper bags?
Well, that's a paper bag then.
Right.
So let's count total bags. 1, 2, 3, big bulky items, 4. I've got some heavy cans in here, 5. Here's another jar. They're freewheeling with those plastic bags because they don't want to get in trouble. I mean, if you look at it from the bagger's point of view, he doesn't want you walking out and having your, granola crash to the floor because he didn't use enough bags to carry yourself.
What about in the unlikely event that the so-called auditors that stand by and they wouldn't, you could pass muster, they wouldn't question you. But if somebody walked out with one of those things all somewhat haphazardly packed or packed correctly, but not, it's not a geometry problem, would they then want to stop you, and wouldn't they want to go through them one by one? Whereas if you walked out with a plastic bag that appeared to be one of Kroger's bag, wouldn't they be less likely to say, oh, excuse me, could I see your receipt?
Oh, actually, with these, there are some Kroger stores where you can take your own scanner in. Like a personal, it's not only a handheld scanner.
If you took your own scanner in, how would it coordinate with the actual price at Kroger's?
They, you can go, there's one in Cold Springs and one in Dayton, where you can walk in, you pick up a handheld scanner, you got your grocery cart,
so you don't bring the scanner from home?
No, it's like it's a wall of scanners and you just grab one. And what you can do there is you're supposed to bring your own bag. You're supposed to bring your own reusable bag, and you get your item, scan it, put it in your bag, so that when you get to the checkout, all you do is they look at the scanner, and then they audit people to try to discourage theft. With these, the managers have told me they would be less likely to have to audit because they can kind of see through it. So instead of a big jumbled bag, of
Let me just interrupt you for a minute. We're running out of time,
and
we have 3 graphics. We usually have 2, and if we may see those now, lest we do run out of time, I'd appreciate it. The first, of course, you can watch the show by simply going on your browser, your internet system, and typing in makepeacewithnature.org. Now we have another graphic which will tell people how to get a hold of my guest, Linda. You can write to Sun Sugar, or go on the web to sunsugarfarms.com. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, finally, because of the kindness of the nonprofit environmental group, the Green Umbrella, which has an amazing website and 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people on their site, they're using our show. They feature it on their website every week. So we want to say thank you to them. And if you want to watch the show and read the Green Umbrella website, go to greenumbrella.org. Now, I think we just have about a minute. Well, you may address the camera if you wish. What thought do you want to leave with the people? And we'll have more questions for you next week.
Sure. The thought that I would like to leave with people is the idea that we don't have a bag ban here in the Midwest, So I can't appeal to you there, but I can appeal to you in the fact that you're going to protect your products with this instead of a bag, and you're going to save time because you can use the barcodes up method, and you can have your own basket instead of the store's basket. So you're going to minimize the amount of other people's germs you run into. So it's in a sense, healthier alternative.
Okay, I have one final question for you, and everybody will want to know the answer to this. Is the cost structure, is the cost per bag, anyway, how much do they cost?
You get your choice of different color straps, different color crates, and every
so
base
that
system
affects
comes
the price?
with, no, I'm just saying what your choices are, and you get a thermal insert for $15 for the base unit. And as you buy the bigger systems, the crate cost goes down.
Okay, so if I bought one, I'd be out $15 and it would last a long time. And on that note, we have, as always, to thank all of you for taking the time to watch, and respectfully ask that you watch next week.